is up, everybody? Sven Diesel here. We're going to be tying up a Rim Semblance 2 or an RS2. So this is a highly effective pattern imitating midge or mayfly mergers. It can be fished as a dry, as a dropper. In the foam is home is where I usually fish it. But Rim Chungs was very innovative when he developed this in the late 80s, and it's something I know a lot of people fish. I primarily fish these in size 12 to size 18, usually more 16 and 18s, but for this video we're going to be tying it up on a FW502 size 12. This is an Ahrex hook, and it's very, very similar to the video I already posted with one exception. I don't know if you can hear that. That right there is a Norvise bobbin. We're going to be trying to utilize the rotary function of it. I also have the Norvise automatic bobbin in my hand that I've loaded with Semperfly 8/0, similar to the thread I used in the previous video, the RS2, but we are going to be trying to use the rotary function as much as possible. So let's go ahead and begin our thread there. Go ahead and snip that off. And to use the rotary function, this bobbin really makes it handy because I can get right up in there. And we'll go ahead and start spinning that rail. We get back to the bend, all the way back in there. And here is, on the previous video, I left the tag in, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just basically create a dubbing loop. And the reason I use two threads for this is I find it just helps split the fibers a little bit better. But you want to make sure that that dub loop comes out right in the center, if you can see that. If it's off to a side, it's going to create havoc for your tail. And for our tail, we're just going to be using this fox bucktail in the gray. As mentioned, I'm trying to keep this as similar to the other video as possible, so I can kind of come up with a comparison as to how I like this vise compared to what I've been using for I don't know, years. Because I had to watch a tutorial on how to use it, but we're just gonna basically do everything the same, or as close to the same as possible. And so I'm just tying these bucktail, trying to keep them on the top of the shank. And I'm worried that as I got this thread tag end off the back, I know that with wire, they recommend to shove the wire down in there and you're fine, but that thread just doesn't have any properties to it that would allow it to stay there, and so I'm just going to manually wrap this back to, so I've got about 1 or 2 wraps behind, and then I'll advance my thread up to the point. Here's where this gets cool. Simple rotated it to a 90 and locked it in place. Let's see if I can get these separated now, though. I tied them in really close together, and it's really fun to see that gray on that white background. Alright, so I got those split. I'll go ahead and pull this up, and you can see how I've got that split pretty much perfect. So we'll go ahead and do a couple wraps over. I like that when I throw this bobbin over, it kind of stays put. I've had bobbins that go a little bit loose and I can retract it up. That's kind of cool. And we'll go ahead and rotate that back, keeping tension on this as I pull it back, and we'll secure that off. So that was pretty smooth. Let's get our thread back to where we need to be, just cleaning that up just a little bit. Okay, that way we get about 1 wrap right underneath this to kind of pop it up. Okay, so we got to do a half hitch here towards the back. Careful not to trap all those fibers, our tail, otherwise we just that defeat the purpose. And we'll put our thread over here on our bobbin holder. I'm just grabbing some of this black dubbing. Grabbed it probably a little bit too much. We'll see how that goes. Now the way that you dub this on, I was playing with it. I'm no expert, but basically we just start getting that so the tag ends catch, and then I'm advancing my dubbing down the line as we get a little bit, let's get that a little bit tighter right there. I'm still no expert, but that put on a pretty nice little dubbing loop, and we'll go ahead and do this first section by hand as we wrap around those tails. I just would rather have a little bit more confidence, but then as we get right there, we'll go ahead and advance that, making sure to avoid that point. And that was pretty cool. So tips good, split good. Okay, let's go ahead and tie in some of this Trout Hunter CDC. I'm just grabbing 2 feathers that look pretty healthy and similar in fluff. If you've got one that's a little bit sparse, that's fine too, and I just stack them on top of each other. Preen those fibers back, trying to keep them so that they're concaving the same way, but we'll pop it up with some thread wraps, so it's not too important. Now on this one, I had a lot of comments about, you know, the original pattern. There's about an eye gap. Like I said, I usually tie these with a little bit of bigger thorax, and but we'll keep this one a little bit more original. So usually when I tie mine, I've got this is an eye gap right here, but I usually do about 1.5 to 2 eye gaps. Not a big deal, but when, you know, I'm not really tying this completely original, because he, you know, uses beaver dubbing and also cords these up. So slight variations, but it's still his pattern, so still super effective in my opinion. But if you want to cord it up, go ahead and cord it up. That's fine by me. We'll do a half hitch, advance our thread up to our bobbin holder, get our, I'm going to do a little bit of a gray dubbing here just to switch it up with a little bit of contrast, and we'll just, that gray just went on real nice. So we'll make sure that we're right where we need to be, and we'll go ahead and do a couple wraps, working our way back to that wing. And then I'm going to hold this forward, do one behind, just to really pop that up, kind of how he does his. And then we'll work our way up to that eye. And that looks pretty good. I need a little bit more dubbing on there. I'll just do that by hand, just to cover up that little spot of thread right there. Okay, and there we go. Go ahead and do a 4 to 5 turn whip finish. Come in, snip out that thread, hold that up, kind of push it so it fans just slightly, and then boom. So we've got a nice split tail. We've got a nice wing on this. The thorax looks good. The abdomen looks good. And we utilize some of the Norvise on the tying here. So color combinations are endless. Switch up your abdomen, switch up your thorax. You can switch up your wing to be a little bit more high vis. However, I recommend natural, usually white, gray, or light brown. I don't vary too much on that wing color. But tie some up. They pierce lips, so fish them and have fun. Thanks for watching.